Hey everyone. Today we're going to start our unit on ecology. Now, ecology is like a special branch of biology. So biology studies living things. Ecology is the study of how living things interact with each other and how they interact in their environment. And our first lesson on ecology is about levels of organization. And now we talked about levels of organization way back at the beginning of the school year when we were first talking about cells and characteristics of life. Like, we already know that cells is the smallest thing that we can consider alive. But you can have a bunch of similar cells all working together. That makes up something called a tissue, right? And if you have a bunch of different tissues working together, that makes up an organ, right? Like your stomach. Right? Your stomach can't do its job alone, though, because it's connected to, your esophagus and your intestines. So all of those structures, all those different organs working together makes up an organ system, particularly your digestive system. And then you have all these organ systems coming together to make an organism. All right? Now, that organism is a member of some type of species. All right? And that's where we're going to pick up with today. So a species is a group of organisms that are so similar that they're capable of breeding together. Right? For example, a lion is one organism and a tiger is another organism, right? Now, if you interbreed or hybridize a lion and tiger together, you create something called a liger, which is a real thing, right? But a liger is not considered to be its own separate species, because there's no way that you could have a purebred liger. In fact, all ligers are sterile. They can't reproduce on their own. Now, population is our next term. A population is all the same species living in a certain area, right? So we could be talking about the population of lions that live at, the Philadelphia Zoo. Right? Or we could be talking about a population of lions that lives, on the continent of Africa. Right? So it's all the same species in some defined area. Now, community expands upon that. Right? When we look at a community, right, this is an interacting group of many species in a common location. So this is kind of like all the living things interacting together, right? So if we're looking at like the Philadelphia Zoo community, it's not just the lions, but, it's also the tigers and the bunny rabbits and any other organism that they have there, but also includes, the trees and the flowers and the grass in that zoo. Right? So all living things in an area together make up the community. Our next term is ecosystem. Right? An ecosystem is all of the living and non-living factors kind of interacting together. Right? So we have two special terms here, biotic factors and abiotic factors. Right? Biotic is any living factor, right, in an ecosystem. Right? And it doesn't have to be alive. It could be something that is created by something that's alive. So for example, so like the lion would be a biotic factor, but the waste that the lion produces would also be a biotic factor as well, even though that lion poo is not necessarily alive. Right? Abiotic factors are things that are non-living, yet they influence the ecosystem. Right? A lot of times this is the temperature. It is outside, the amount of rain that you're getting, whether or not there's fresh water or salt water nearby. All of these things are non-living or abiotic factors that are important parts of the ecosystem. Next, we have a biome. A biome is a bunch of ecosystems that all share the same climate or environment, right? So it changes depending on what source what reference you're looking at. But the textbook that our course is based off of identifies 8 major Earth biomes. Right? The tropical rainforest, the tropical grassland or savanna, the temperate grassland, the taiga, the tropical dry forest, the desert, the temperate forest, and the tundra. Right? We currently, right now in like Pennsylvania, live in a temperate forest. Now, if you take all of those biomes and put them together, you basically have the entire Earth, right, where life exists, right, and that is referred to as the biosphere, right. So on this planet, we have one biosphere, and it includes all living things. So just to recap, the organization of living things. Right? The smallest particles that can be considered alive are cells. A bunch of cells working together are tissues. Right? A bunch of different types of tissues all working together to do one job makes up an organ. A bunch of different organs working together makes up an organ system, which eventually makes up an organism, which is a part of a species. Right? A bunch of different individuals living together in one area is defined as a population. All the populations living together in a certain area makes up a community. Right? The ecosystem is not just the community of living things, but also all of the non-living things that they have to interact with. A biome is a bunch of ecosystems that have the same type of environment and the same climate, and all of the biomes together make up the biosphere. Alright guys, that does it for today's lesson on ecological levels of organization. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Bye.